Why is it that we millennials talk about all of our wins online, but refrain from sharing all of our caregiving responsibilities? I recognize that talking about caregiving is not considered LinkedIn friendly or social friendly in ways that we were so used to talking about all of the other things that we do in our life. Some of us may have grown around parents who have taken care of our grandparents at home and just kind of absorb this idea by default that we will eventually become caregivers as well. And it has become so much a part of our learning that we don't even take the time to recognize what it takes to actually be a caregiver to someone while you're still trying to balance, your ambitions, your personal life, and everything that makes up a full life. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Shama Mehta. I'm a board certified chaplain and educator in the field of spiritual care. One of the first times I realized how much caregiving had become a part of my life was when I initially started working as a spiritual care provider. It became such a part of who I am overall that every aspect of my life was defined by who I was caring for. And all of this played a role in how I showed up. How I showed up in my personal relationships, how I showed up in my professional relationships. I do have the luxury of working in a field that recognizes the role of caregivers and almost always make sure that caregivers are also taken care of. But one of the things that I've seen repeatedly in my personal relationships outside of work has been the idea that so many of you are walking around, working and then going home to responsibilities, not just for yourself or if you have children, maybe your own children, but also parents who may need additional help, grandparents who may need additional help. And this is the portion of our life that also takes an emotional toll. We don't normally talk about the emotional side of these things. We are so programmed, some of us are so programmed to kind of go in because it is expected that this is what we're going to do, that this is how we're going to care for our loved ones. But I want to uplift the idea that as much as this is a silent path that you walk, I want to recognize that it is completely normal to feel the feelings and all of the feelings, the entire spectrum of emotions that you feel when you are in a caregiving situation while also trying to live your life. And it feels even awkward to say that out loud, like, how is it not part of your life? But it is inherently a part of who you are also. So I want to make sure that you hear that. One of the challenges that I have noticed is when you feel that if you were to share your other responsibilities, your personal responsibilities that required you to be a caregiver of some sort to anybody, it doesn't matter if it's a parent, grandparent, or even your own child, it may come at an expense of your professional life. That should you share that there are more responsibilities in your personal life that you may have to sacrifice something professionally in order to ensure that you continue your caregiving role, or that if you pursue your professional life, that you may have to sacrifice some aspect of your caregiving. That is always a hidden burden that we carry, is trying to make sure that we are not going to be one of those people. And along with it comes the idea that we may be left behind if we pick one thing over the other. And also the hidden burden of having cultural expectations, family expectations on who takes what role when it comes down to caregiving. It, again, as I mentioned multiple times, it doesn't necessarily have to be a parent or a grandparent. It could be a child. It could be a distant relative, somebody that you feel responsible that you are going to care for. So all of that kind of comes into play when we're thinking about our own life, when we're sitting down and having a moment to reflect. Are we going to be left behind? Are you going to be left? And what do you do about all of that? I was recently talking to a friend who had mentioned the emotional baggage that she carries because she is here with her family. In her words, she's thriving here and her parents are back home. They're living their life. They're doing what retired parents do. But also, she feels a sort of guilt around not always being there when they need something, or having to take care of her. And should she have to leave here and then go back home to take care of her parents, then who would take care of her children or her husband, And also to say that even in a balanced marriage where both partners are equally handling care for parents and children, it is still in some way or form a little bit unbalanced, because the conversations don't happen as openly as they should. So one of the things I did mention to her was the idea of having an open conversation with her partner about this. How about we talk about the responsibilities that we both think that we have right now, and how can we both make sure that should there be a feeling of imbalance for either one of them, that they are openly able to talk about it. And I invite you all to find people in your life with whom you can talk to. And I strongly encourage that you take some time and reflect upon where you are in this journey of caregiving, should you be in a situation like that, or to reflect upon areas of your life where you actually don't even envision yourself, or you don't even see that role as of being caregiving. But it is something that takes away, but it is something that contributes to your sense of responsibility as well. I want to also encourage that you talk to other people about it too, because the more you stay silent about it, the more it will contribute to you feeling isolated. I acknowledge that it is not an easy conversation to have with anybody for that matter, but I do strongly encourage that as long as you stay true to all of your responsibilities, as long as you stay true to yourself, essentially, having those honest conversations and speaking up will definitely contribute to your better sense of well being. One of the things that I would love for you to think about is to imagine a vision or an idea of what if caregiving didn't have to be so lonely. What would it look like for you? And also, when did you realize that you were transitioning to this role of becoming a caregiver and that it was becoming a part of your identity? If you would like to take a little bit of a deeper dive, I have created a free caregiver clarity mind map checklist, and I will link it in the description below for you to check out. It's completely free, but it will get you started to see where you are emotionally and spiritually in this caregiver role that you are, and how to better take care of yourself while you're taking care of others as well. I hope you're able to take care of yourself. I want to leave you with the recognition that I see you and that you are not alone. I'll see you next time.